Welcome everybody to another episode of Command Combat Battle Reports. Today we have X-Wing with Imperials versus Rebels. We're going to be doing one of the missions. In this one, the Imperial shuttle will be trying to rescue some of their men off of some space liners that the Rebels are trying to destroy. It's a little bit reversed from what you'd expect, but we'll see how it goes. The Imperials have 2 TIE fighters, 2 Tie-interceptors, and the aforementioned shuttle. The TIE fighters and the Tie-interceptors are pretty standard, although they all come with targeting computers. Which frankly they all should have, because in the movie you see them using their targeting computers, but we'll skip past that. On to the Lambda shuttle. It's being piloted by Colonel Jendon. It has a hull and a shield upgrade, and has a flight instructor and a navigator on board. The Rebels who are coming to stop the rescue are 3 ace pilots, 1 X-Wing, 1 Y-Wing, and 1 B-Wing. The X-Wing is being flown by Wedge Antilles, and he has R5-D8 on board. The Y-Wing is being flown by Horton Salm. Horton hears a psalm, apparently. And he has proton torpedoes, an ion cannon, and an R2 astromech. And the B-Wing is being flown by Kion Farlander. And he has proton torpedoes. So it's 3 very strong Rebel ships. So here's the setup. The shuttle is surrounded by its fighters. The 2 TIE fighters are in the front, the 2 Tie-interceptors are in the back. You can see the passenger vessels in the middle there. The counters on them represent the people. That's who the Imperials are trying to rescue. And the Rebels have the B-Wing on one side and the other 2 on the bottom right. So the battle begins with the TIEs splitting up. 2 on each side are going after the various Rebel ships. The X and the Y-Wing have turned right towards those fighters, while the B-Wing is going after the passenger ships. The shuttle, too, is going right after the passenger ships to try to rescue people. Wedge gets the first shot in this battle, and at long range, he gets 3 hits. The Tie-interceptor, despite having 4 dodges, misses every one of them. It is a clean hit. The interceptor is destroyed on turn 1. That is first blood to the Rebels. The Y-Wing fires, gets 2 hits, and the TIE fighter dodges one of them. The B-Wing fires his proton torpedo at one of the passenger liners and takes out one of the passengers. Who's the real bad guy here? The Lambda shuttle shoots at the B-Wing and gets 2 hits, hurting the shields. Tie-interceptor shoots and takes another shield off of the B-Wing. And the TIE fighter shoots but misses, typical for a TIE fighter. The other TIE fighter shoots at Wedge and takes down his shields. Wedge is already vulnerable. They continue to move. The X-Wing and Y-Wing get onto the flank of the shuttle, who is stopped to take on the passengers from the first liner. The B-Wing is continued on to the next passenger liner, trying to shoot down those civilians, Imperial spies, so they can't get away. He's got a TIE fighter and interceptor on his tail, and the other TIE fighter is now behind the Y-Wing. Wedge shoots at the shuttle and gets 2 criticals, but they're wasted on the shields. The Y-Wing fires his proton torpedoes, gets 2 hits, one of them is dodged, but he has taken down the shuttle's shields. The B-Wing fires at the passenger liner, gets a critical and an eye result. The passenger liner, even though it's disabled, gets 3 dodge dice, rolls one of them. This would normally mean that he missed, but because it's Kion, he gets to use his stress to make one of his focus a hit, so the eyeball turns into a hit. That soaks up the dodge, so his critical now counts, and he takes out 1 Imperial passenger. Angry, the shuttle fires at the B-Wing, gets 3 hits, the B-Wing gets 1 dodge, so that's 2 more hits on him. The B-Wing shields are now down. He is vulnerable for those 2 TIEs to shoot at him. The Tie-interceptor gets a hit and a critical. The critical is a sensor array, meaning Kion will not be able to use his special actions anymore. That's it for turning his stress into hits. The TIE fighter gets a hit, but Kion dodges that. The TIE fighter is living up to the reputation of being useless. The other TIE fighter is not useless, however. He gets 2 hits on the Y-Wing, only 1 is dodged. Dramatic movement on everybody's part here. The B-Wing did a maneuver to try to get away from the TIE fighter and Tie-interceptor on its rear, doing a barrel roll, getting as much distance as he could. The fighter and the interceptor, meanwhile, had to split off to avoid being hit by the shuttle, which came barreling through to try to get its other passengers off of the other liner before they're destroyed. He had them all board this turn, which means that he took 3 points of damage, which is exactly the number of shields the shuttle had left. I had miscalculated before and it was not out of shields before. But now it is vulnerable to being hit by the X-Wing and the Y-Wing, which have maneuvered up behind it. However, there's a TIE fighter on their rear as well. Wedge shoots and takes down a couple of points from the shuttle's hull. The The Y-wing fires and gets a couple hits on the shuttle. The shuttle shoots and hits the B-wing for 2 points. That destroys the B-wing. The Tie-interceptor gets 3 hits in on the Y-wing. One of them is a critical, which doesn't manage to do any more damage to the Y-wing, but it is already hurting. The TIE fighter on the right, unlike its counterpart, gets 3 hits in on Wedge, destroying him. That's going to be something for the TIE fighter pilot to brag about back home. And now the Y-wing is all alone. It is pursuing the shuttle that is trying to race off this table. The shuttle now has all the passengers it needs, and it just needs to escape in order to win. The fighters and interceptor, meanwhile, are swarming around that Y-wing to take it out. The Y-wing is out of shields, but the shuttle only has 1 or 2 hull points left. And the Y-wing gets first shot. The Y-wing fires, gets 1 hit which is dodged. However, it is Horton. He gets a reroll, misses at range 2 or 3. He rerolls, it's a hit! It destroys the Lambda shuttle! The shuttle is destroyed with all the Imperial spies on board. The rebels have accomplished their goal. However, they need to get the Y-wing off of this table. The TIE fighter shoots and gets 1 hit. That's another internal. That's 2 of 5. The Y-wing has 3 left. The TIE fighter shoots, gets a critical, taking out the Y-wing's weapon, which Horton isn't going to use anyway because now he's just trying to get off this board. The TIE fighters try to cut off every exit for Horton, who is now trying to race off this table, even giving himself stress to do it. Horton fires his ion cannon back at the Tie-interceptor, gets a hit, but it is dodged. And the Tie-interceptor, angry at him, fires, gets 2 hits, taking out Horton. Horton has given his life for this cause, but then again, so have 2 other ace pilots. Was it worth it to take out those Imperial spies? Who knows? In the meantime, we're going to get out of here. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe and watch our many videos. Happy gaming, everybody!